Good evening, everybody. I would like to call this regular meeting of Arnprior Town Council to order. Today is Monday, September the 8th, and it is 6:30 p.m. If we could have a roll call, please.
Councillor Cooper?
Here.
Councillor Toner?
Here.
Councillor Burnett?
Here.
Councillor Cloutier?
Here.
Councillor Strike?
Here.
County Councillor Lynch?
Here.
And Mayor McGee.
Here. I would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we are gathering is the traditional unceded territory of the Anishinaabe people. This Algonquin nation have lived on this land for thousands of years, long before the arrival of the European settlers, and we are grateful to be present in this territory. Adoption of the agenda, please.
Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council dated Monday, September 8th, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder for that, please. Councillor Cooper, Councillor Strike, all in favor? Thank you. Do we have any disclosures of pecuniary interests for tonight's agenda? No. No questions from previous council business. Adoption of the minutes of previous meetings, please.
That the minutes of the regular meeting of council listed under item 7A be adopted.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, please. County Councillor Lynch, Councillor Cloutier, all in favor? Thank you. So we're going to start off with awards, delegations, and presentations. And first up, we've got the recognition of the 2025 Culture Connector Award presented to our Emily Stowell, Manager of Culture and our Curator by the Local Immigration Partnership of Arnprior. Now, I understand we've got a video that we can...
It's new for us and quite deserving. It is my great honor to present the 2025 Culture Connector Award to someone who embodies every value this award celebrates. Emily Stovall, the Manager of Culture and Curator for the Arnprior and District Museum. When Emily first arrived in Arnprior on Halloween Day of 2022, as she vividly remembers, she had never set foot in the town prior to that. Like many newcomers, she carried assumptions about what she might find in a rural community. But what she saw instead was a spark in the community that she described as something that can't be explained. A proactive, vibrant, and welcoming energy. And she knew immediately this is a place ready to grow, and she wanted to help thrive, both personally and through her role at the museum. As curator, Emily has not just preserved the history of Arnprior, she's been an integral person in building its future. She transformed the museum into more than a place of learning. She made it a hub. She extended open hours, diversified its use, and worked tirelessly to ensure the museum could serve as a space where people, stories, and cultures can come together. Emily's work hasn't just stopped at the doors of the museum. She reaches out, she listens, she goes above and beyond to connect. She has built relationships with schools, with special ed departments, and with local businesses, with new organizations, and with those who can sometimes be overlooked. When a newcomer is dropped off in Arnprior with nothing but a phone, they came looking for Emily. They'd seen online that she spoke Spanish and felt comfortable to go to her for help. And Emily did help. Emily has helped so many new people in Arnprior, not because she had to, because it's the right thing to do. She is the person who says yes. Yes to collaboration. Yes to trying something new. Yes to the conversations that matter, even when they're very hard conversations. Emily has lived an incredible life so far, living and working through the world, around the world in Chile, in Belize, in Argentina. She brings more experiences to our home, recognizing complex patterns of privilege, how it can be interpreted in different cultures and countries. Having been a newcomer herself, she understands not only the practical barriers, but the emotional ones, the loneliness, the assumptions based on skin or clothing or speech, the challenges of not being seen clearly. And so she creates spaces where people can be themselves, uncategorized and unjudged. Emily sees culture as something alive and thriving.
Can anybody guess what this stuff is and what I'm going to use it for? This is mullein that I picked out of my garden.
Something we co-create every day. She understands that welcoming someone into a community doesn't start with a service. It starts with a conversation, a connection, and an invitation to belong, an invitation to contribute. Drawing on her experiences and her passions, Emily goes above and beyond to help shape Arnprior into a caring and inclusive community, always with the understanding that true change happens through collaboration and conversation. She continues to ask, how can we uplift one another? How can we make this community one where everyone feels at home? Emily, your work is deeply rooted in genuine respect, in bringing cultures together, in opening doors, and in offering friendship and generosity of spirit. You are a culture connector in the truest sense. On behalf of Renfrew County and the local immigration partnership of Lanark-Renfrew, it is my privilege and honor to present you with this year's Culture Connector Award. Congratulations, and I have to add on a personal note, I've been to numerous events in Arnprior. I've watched your magic and your ability to connect with people, to get people to work together to envision festivals and events, and it's awe-inspiring. So thank you. Please join me, as well as we have with us this morning. Sorry, I had memorized you. So we have Gabriella Solera, who is the acting administrator of the Lanark-Renfrew Immigration Partnership. Come up.
Thank you so much. It's a big obligation.
So step up front, okay? And maybe we could get Dan here, because he represents Arnprior. Good thing you have a clean shirt on for you.
All right, well, congratulations to Emily. Oh, she is here. She is. I didn't think you'd made it here. I didn't see you sneak in. You are all of those things and more, and we are so grateful to have you. We've also got the recognition of the 2025 County of Renfrew Starter Company recipients. Now, the Summer Company is an enterprise Renfrew County training, mentoring, and funding opportunity designed to guide students aged 15 to 29 in starting their own summer business with grant assistance. Through the Summer Company program, participants receive startup money to kick off a new summer business, as well as advice and mentorship from local business leaders to help the business get up and running. While learning how to run their own student business, these young entrepreneurs develop highly useful skills in the in the areas of sales, marketing, bookkeeping, customer relationship management, and networking. We were very pleased to see 3 of the 7 recipients being Arnprior students who were chosen for the program this year. Now tonight we have in person a wonderful young man, Emmanuel Young from Manny's Mowing. And Emmanuel, why don't you come on up? I know we had a chance to chat, but I'm sure my council colleagues may have a couple of questions for you, if that's okay. Come on up. I hate to put you on the spot, but now, I was chatting with Manny earlier, and so he had himself a fantastic lawn cutting business, but maybe you can tell my colleagues a little bit of what you did in terms of where you were focused and how many lawns you had for the summer and what your thoughts are for the future.
Yeah, so my name's Emmanuel, and this year my summer project was the Summer Company grant. So I ran a small lawn cutting and landscaping business, and I cut 48 lawns throughout the summer. I had 48 clients. So for most of the summer, I was cutting once a week to twice a week. And yeah, I have a trailer that goes behind my bike that holds my equipment. So with that trailer, I was able to bike around Arnprior and cut lawns around Arnprior. And then through the summer company program, I was able to fund that and have mentorship on my startup and bookkeeping and customer relations and marketing and all that stuff.
Fantastic. Anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Cooper.
Manny, congratulations. That's great. Question for you. For any students that are looking to get into this but think, it's too much for me, I'd never be able to get it, never be able to do it, what would you say to anyone that's thinking of starting their own student business, having had the opportunity to get through it?
I would say it really helps to have the support of a program like this that'll just give you a little, just a good foundation to build off of. It really helps. The funding helps to get you off the ground, and then the mentorship through the year really helps. And one thing that I've learned through this summer that I think is really valuable if you're looking at starting a company is that even if you decide that you want to discontinue it after a year, it doesn't go as you planned, there's so many things that you'll learn through starting your own summer business that you wouldn't learn through just going and working somewhere else. So it's a really great opportunity, even if it doesn't end up being something that works out long term, just to learn valuable life skills that you use for the rest of your life.
Fantastic. Councillor Strike?
Thank you. I saw you one day. It was on Friday Street, and you had yeah, I saw you one day, I think it was on Friday Street, and I had to stop and take a second look, and I said, there is a smart, ambitious young man. We need more people like that. And I had a good look at your equipment, and I said, whoever invented this is also very smart. Welcome, to see this type of thing, and I hope it encourages others to follow you in your footsteps.
Thank you.
County Councillor Lynch?
Thank you, Mayor. So do you have employees working for you, Manny?
So throughout the summer, I had, there were a couple weeks where I was away with summer camp. So throughout that time, I was back on the weekends to cut, and so my sister Hope was able to step in and help me for those weeks where I was going to be behind if I was just by myself. So that's the occasion that I had an employee working for me.
Supplemental? Any hopes for doing winter, like snow blowing to a select number of people? I know some of your customers are seniors who would be beneficial in snow blowing.
Snowblowing and shoveling is something I've considered, but it's a little bit more tricky with school through the winter to provide a service like that, just because it's time sensitive, and clients want their driveways cleared before they're out for work, and it's a little bit unpredictable with snow schedules. So that's something I've considered, but I've held off a little bit this year on pursuing something like that, just because it's a little bit complicated, because you can't predict the weather.
Thank you.
Councillor Toner?
Yes, thanks, Manny, for a well-spoken presentation. That was very mature of you, and you're a well-spoken young man, and you remind me of one of our colleagues, MPP Deno. He started out cutting grass just like you. He went to university, he became a councillor, and now he's the MPP of Brantford-Nipissing. So you know what? The sky's the limit for you, young man. So congratulations.
Thank you again, Manny, so much, and we'll look forward to watching you from the sidelines and seeing what great things you got ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Now, we have someone else joining us virtually, I believe, one of the other recipients. No, we do not. Okay. So there were two other recipients from Arnprior for this award. We had Paige Hodgson of Paige's Projects, and we had Mina Rayhan of Noor Henna, and They were also Arnprior residents who were recipients of that award. So congratulations to everybody. So thrilled to see Town of Arnprior represented. Now, many of you are absolutely welcome to stay, but don't feel obligated. It's entirely up to you. It doesn't get any more exciting than what we've already had here. Okay, so we do have one delegation this evening, and that's Jennifer McGuire from the Longer Table. Jennifer and whoever else is joining you, by all means, come on up. And welcome.
Good evening, Your Worship and councillors. It's truly a pleasure to speak with you today on behalf of our local initiative, the Longer Table Arnprior. My name is Jennifer McGuire. I'm chair of the board, and I own and operate a small canning company here in town. We are a newly formed, incorporated, nonprofit charitable organization, and we are working on creating lasting food security in our town. In 2020, the town of Arnprior created an ad hoc committee on poverty and homelessness. It brought together service groups, local growers and food producers, as well as members of the community. A number of issues were identified, and the Longer Table was born out of this committee. They thought about how people act in times of trouble. You can build a high fence and protect what you have, or you can build a longer table and share. And this is the concept behind what we do. Feeding ourselves was very different when I was young. My parents and my neighbors all had gardens, and they shared with each other, especially in lean times. Food banks didn't really exist. We ate seasonally, and we preserved what we had for the winter. With the current economic climate that we're all living in, I think we can all agree that if those skills were alive today the way they were decades ago, we would all have better control over our food security. The demographics tracked by our food bank here in Arnprior shows that they are seeing 3-generation large families needing services. In our town in particular, the pandemic drove families out of the city because they were given an opportunity to work from home. Now, being mandated back to the office, they're facing the cost of commuting, as well as child and, let's face it, elder care, living in multi-generational homes. They are the working poor right now. The other 2 groups that they're seeing in large numbers are seniors who live alone and people who are homeless, living on couches or in vehicles, the most vulnerable of our populations. In 2023, taking produce left over from the weekly farmers markets we have downtown, this group produced more than 400 delicious, nutritious, ready-to-eat frozen dinners in 3 sessions. The food bank also donated ingredients that were close to their use-by date or that they had an excess of. Recipes like cabbage rolls using kale that was left over from Castlegarth's Farm Sunday Market created a recognizable comfort food that was appreciated by everyone, really. And they used ingredients that would otherwise have gone to waste. So costs were kept to just packaging at the time, with the kitchen being donated at the Catholic Church Parish Hall. And although I was not a part of the group that launched the Longer Table, I did attend the last event they held in September of 2023. I was so excited to get my hands to work feeding my community. And lo and behold, they had too many volunteers. You heard me right. There was too many volunteers to fit in the kitchen. The farmers that grew the food were super excited to see it being eaten. The chefs that were instructing the volunteers were very pleased to have so many sous chefs to instruct. And the volunteers that were creating these meals were learning skills that they could use in their everyday lives. It wasn't long after that September event that the parish hall was no longer available to us. The farmers market had ended for the season, and unfortunately it looked like the longer table wasn't going to continue. And in 2024, it didn't produce any meals. But I did, however, manage to meet all the people that had originally talked about this idea, and we made a plan. It took a while, but in May of this year, a group of local residents came together and formed the board of our new charitable organization. We've brought together chefs, teachers, administrative professionals, growers, and general overall community-minded individuals. Many of our board members have lived with issues around food security throughout their lives, and they are passionate about finding a solution. Pat, the food bank manager, Pat Tate, has been instrumental in getting food to those who need it. We don't have an infrastructure for that currently. She's told me that they were just overwhelmed by the sheer number of meals we gave them in the spring. And I told her to be sure to tell me as soon as they had room for more. But they had already been distributed in one day, and they had to prioritize only seniors who lived alone and the homeless. Those were the only people that received any food from our organization. And we provided them with 178 frozen dinners. I have to say that really broke my heart. We had done such a big thing, but the impact in that moment felt really, really small. Our food bank sees anywhere from 450 to 500 families, not individuals, families a month. So we have some work to do before we can cover all of these people. So far, and we're very proud of this, we have given the food bank almost 1,000 ready-to-eat portions. The impact of these meals is not small at all. Imagine things are tough. You're given some random ingredients to create a meal. You're unpacking things, trying to make a plan to what to make, and you pull out a turkey pot pie with simple heating instructions. Just a little time in the oven or the microwave, and you have something warm and nourishing. Those who've received these meals have raved about how it felt to eat something that was lovingly made just for them. They felt taken care of and seen. In July, we held our launch event, which was called Stone Soup. We named it after the beloved children's story, where travelers come into a town, and by bringing a community together, donating a little bit of this and a little bit of that, a delicious meal is made and shared. We tailored the requested ingredients not only to the soups that we hope to produce, but to align with the many frozen dinners that we have planned. We donated approximately 140 liters of various soups. We had local restaurants drop in the 11th hour and make even more than we expected to make. The food bank is still getting requests for more of that awesome soup, I'm told, which makes us feel really good. We believe we could hold this event a couple of times a year, perhaps at the Nick Smith Center next time. Aside from the food bank, Teachers Against Poverty would really benefit from a nutritious, ready-to-eat meal. As you know, they're a local charity run by volunteers and teachers. They work very closely with our food bank. They have 8 schools in their network. TAP has told us that they would be willing to install mini freezers in each of the schools. We have proposed providing, to begin, 6 brown bag lunches. These lunches would include things like a sandwich, a yogurt tube, a string cheese, a juice box, and some kind of a snack. In a brown bag, these lunches are going to look like everybody else's. And if a child is identified as not having food in the morning, by lunch, this simple lunch will be defrosted and ready to go. We believe we can produce 6 lunches for all 8 schools at a cost of approximately $150 a month. The paramedics are another group that's very interested in our initiative. They are able to do wellness checks on the community that the police cannot. They can open fridges, they can open cupboards, and find out what kind of nutrition is in a home. And oftentimes, fridges are empty. They would be so happy to deliver a meal to a client, especially clients awaiting surgery. There was a time when people were put into a hospital ahead of a surgery to be nourished so that they would be able to heal afterwards. Hospitals are no longer able to do that. If the paramedics had a meal program that they could deliver, imagine how much better people could heal, how much faster they'd get back into our community. So they see over 6,000 individuals in this county and have told me they could use 2,000 meals a day. We're not there yet, but let's hope. Some of the issues that we've identified included not having facilities to prepare food for those who are living in their vehicle or couch surfing, not having the basic kitchen skills to prepare the ingredients that the food bank provides is another, and growing food to supplement what they can afford and what they receive from the food bank is very important. Ready-to-eat meals is just one portion of this plan, but a good example of how we bring our community together. Food insecurity touches lives in every demographic, every walk of life. And the first part of our plan is to get people fed. We believe that it's hard to learn and make good decisions when you're not well nourished. So priority number one is getting food in bellies. And when we can get people to the point where they can start bringing produce out of their apartment or out of their backyard, we plan to teach them how to cook with these ingredients and how to prepare for the winter. This knowledge will allow people to take control of their own food security. Even growing one tomato plant or one potato plant in a bucket can save you money. We've spoken with a number of local churches, and hopefully we will have a facility that we can run things out of so that we can store food and better plan for these meals. So far, we have cooked at the United Churches Christian Education Center and the Riverstone Church. Both have Arnprior County approved kitchens. I've also had my home kitchen inspected because, let's face it, sometimes we have things that need to be stored or prepped, and I'm willing to do that. But in order to make the impact this community needs, we need more space. We very much appreciate you allowing us time on your agenda to introduce ourselves and the work that we are doing here in town. And although we do not have a formal request at this time, we hope that you will consider our multifaceted plan and look at areas that we can partner at putting an end to food security in our town. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the longer table folks? Councillor Cooper?
Thank you very much, Jennifer. That was great. And I just want to recognize Jennifer. For those who do not know, she's also, she serves on our Culture and Diversity Committee, Advisory Committee. So it's fantastic to have her in multiple roles in our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
My question for you, you did mention at the very beginning that you were overrun by volunteers at the beginning. I just wanted to make sure that if people want to volunteer right now, that you are still accepting volunteers. Am I correct?
So this is my first time running a charitable board, and I am learning to say no to nothing. So anybody that offers me any resources, anytime, we will find a way to make use of that. And the more that we grow, the more opportunities our volunteers will have to be involved. We currently have a list of 135 residents to call upon, and we can take a maximum of 20 at any cook. It's just not safe otherwise.
Just supplemental. As an educator, I know that in our schools, teachers and staff at schools are often the first people that perceive a need. People are, because of stigma or whatever, are very reluctant to come ahead and say stuff. So kudos to you to seeking those community partners in paramedics, because they see themselves in the same situation where they're in the homes. Specifically with schools, I know you mentioned getting children involved. Have you thought of doing any school programs, going in, teaching them to cook, prepare food, just to get that healthy eating and that food security that some of them might lack? Have you had any thoughts for that?
So there is a program at the Arnprior High School where they pick up excess food from No Frills, and they have a cooking class that produces snacks, fruit salads. They have a fridge that's accessible to all students. I would love to partner with our local grocery stores and the school here so that the students are the one taking their food security into their hands. They're learning all the skills, but they're also providing food for their friends.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous. Councillor Toner?
Thank you. You had mentioned like some other organizations such as the Food Bank, and there's TAP, and now with yourself, the Longer Table. I know the schools, they also have like a lunch program that they get money. Have you thought about like gathering all of these people together in a room and like, you know, just so that there's no overlap, or that there's no gaps that are that are not being filled, and you know, with a lot of volunteers, you know, maybe there could be like a sharing of volunteers. I just wondered if you had thought about that, because I can see everyone wants to do a really good job, right? And when we have so many different entities doing the same thing, you know, you just don't want all of the efforts kind of like focused on one area, or there could be a lack of efficiency. Not saying that there is, but I think it's worthwhile having a conversation and seeing if there's any like synergies between all of your groups that maybe could get more food out to more people.
We're working on that. I initially didn't want to become an incorporated charitable nonprofit. I wanted to be a program for one of the agencies in town, simply for that reason. So now we've got how many people doing books, how many people, right? There's a lot of coordination, there's a lot of administration to these things. And that is why we are using other distribution channels rather than trying to recreate that food bank wheel. We're partnering with them so that they, for example, our shepherd's pie that we made in July. So we had gathered a lot of ingredients. The food bank paid for the extra ingredients that we needed. So it wasn't coming out of our pocket, it was coming out of the people that were going to provide the meals. But they have the infrastructure, they have the way of they can get it to the people. So that's the ways that we're partnering. TAP knows the students. They don't have the facilities to make the food. Well, we're all food safe handlers with the inspected kitchens. We know the legalities of food. You guys get it to the people that need it. So we are essentially partnering and not recreating the wheel. We're trying to fill a gap, and the gap is ready to eat food. Yeah, for sure.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
here.
so much
Thank you
for
for
the
what you're doing.
opportunity.
Have a great evening. Okay, next up we've got Lucas with the Programs and Events Fall Update.
Good evening. Very happy to be here to give you a glimpse of what we're working on, what's coming up, and chat a bit about what's been going on since I was last here. Since I think we were last here in May, we've been quite busy. The summer is never a downtime for us, and that proved again this year. The summer busy events with Priorbpalooza, Canada Day, Dragon Boat Festival, Concert in the Park, and Movies in the Park, all again very successful. The weather was on our side for more times than not. I think we had one move inside for a Concert in the Park, which is an all-time low, and we'll take that. Summer camp again I think it was sold out for all but 2 weeks, and we launched the new edition of Sports Camp in lieu of the hockey and ringette school with the arena being down. That program was also sold out, as well as launching the Counselor in Training program, which showed each week there was up to 4 youth between the age of 11 and 13, which is the age where you've aged out of camp but ineligible to volunteer. Each week we had phenomenal kids being part of the program. Our counselors were thrilled that they kind of had that new gap, we'll call it. And many kids are asking when they're old enough to be hired on to be counselors. So that was a excellent program, and we'll absolutely be running that back next year. The return of the park program in its second year also saw funding from Canadian Tire Jumpstart, so that was expanded through more park spaces, more equipment. That ran 3 times a week, which was extremely exciting. And as we'll get into shortly, we received some more grant funding over the summer that has impacted and expanded our fall recreation. Just a bit of background on fall recreation. For multiple years now, we've been following the school calendar as a way to kind of roll out our programs as well. With that, the creation of Youth Club in the fall of 2023 has been evolving, as well as the fitness and social programs which continue to thrive. So Youth Club, this year we have a revamped look for Youth Club. Kind of here what's changed is the addition of another after-school program. The after-school programs are definitely the biggest aspect of this, and we're happy to roll out 4 days a week this year. More community collaboration. We have some fantastic partners involved that help us with program delivery, as well as utilization of spaces. Youth night dinner options, which was heavily requested by parents, and the Youth Club Builder program, which we'll also get into. What stays the same are the programs that, I guess if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's the youth nights, the craft nights, the events. With that, the pricing model, we're very happy to have kept the prices the exact same for families since the creation of this program back in the fall of 23, and the ages and registration process. So as we mentioned, the 4 days of after-school program. Monday, we're back in John 23rd School. Tuesday, we are using Seniors Active Living Center once their programs have ended. The exciting aspect this year is the Wednesday bowling at Steelheads and Strikes, and then the always popular Thursday after-school program at the museum. For the Tuesday to Thursday program, we've expanded our walking group options where our staff are going to the schools and walking kids to the programs from there. So we've expanded the number of schools we can offer that to, and obviously going from 1 day a week to 3. And as we mentioned, collaborations, we work with both school boards very tightly. This year we've added in Seniors Active Living Center, Steelheads and Strikes, as well as an event later in November where we will be going to Jim's Restaurant and the O'Brien Theatre for a dinner and a movie night with the kids. And Domino's Pizza, always keeping us well fed. As we mentioned, the youth nights and junior youth nights now have the dinner option where essentially we'll have pizza there that runs over that 6 to 8 p.m. time. And the Youth Club Builder program is a unique sponsorship that includes logo visibility, but more importantly, a more hands-on aspect where they have a plaque they can show in their business and an invitation to a banquet where families of Youth Club and the sponsors will be invited in. We're going to be able to kind of really show what they're funding, and a good way to recognize many community builders. And always important to add that every year we've done Youth Club, it's changed and evolved based on the new needs of families. So we have surveys that go out. We were able to implement quite a few of the responses this year, and we will continue to do so year after year. The excitement over the summer for us was receiving $20,000 from the Province of Ontario Senior Community Grant Program to launch a new initiative called the Older Adults Club. So this operates the same way that we operate Youth Club. It's membership-based, which provides you subsidized access to the popular programs being your swimming, badminton, pickleball, just as the subsidized programs for Youth Club are the after-school programs. And then free access to a lot of the other social and fitness programs like the Pilates program, expansion of conditioning and balance, some other like games and coffee programs throughout the day. It also runs throughout the school year, September to March. As we mentioned, the fitness and social programs, as well as a monthly event. So that event will change from a line dancing program to some events or seminars that are on topics that are impactful to the seniors. We had a survey that went out that said, essentially, we have this money, we have this program to offer, what do you want? So we were able to carve the events based on the feedback we received. And the other fantastic part of this is the technological addition. So we now have 2 iPad kiosks in the lobby of the Nick Smith Center where you're able to browse some of the programs that we have or even log on to your account, manage your account, register for programs there if you want that flexibility to do so yourself. And as always, our friendly customer service staff are more than happy to help you along the way. So more about the Older Adults Club. We mentioned the programs are crafted by survey results. We did have the grant application say essentially roughly what we want to do between fitness, social, events, technological, but everything that's implemented was done through the survey. Daytime and evening programs, a lot of the results said that I'm a senior who still works daytime, I want evening programs, and other feedback said I only want that 9 to 1. So we we're very trying to be flexible with how we could offer programs, and we'll continue to do so. And the expansion of popular programs. So Walk the Halls returned after a hiatus through COVID. This is the 3rd year of it back now, and we're excited to offer an additional night. So we have Tuesdays and Thursdays at the high school, as well as the conditioning and balance class that we partner with the Arnprior Family Health Team. We have funds allocated to fitness equipment, so 1 2-pound weights, elastic bands, blocks, those like yoga balls that are palm of your hand size, an expansion of those programs that are already established and popular. And the last part is a payment plan option. So it follows a $10 a month fee, similar to Youth Club. For some upfront, that is going to be quite a bit. So we have a down payment with the remainder of it being paid off in the new year. I think it's also important to note that this is a pilot program that's been supported by the Seniors Active Living Center and Arnprior Regional Health. They were consulted on the grant application, and they provide a letter of support alongside Arnprior Braeside McNabb Seniors at Home program. So we're working closely with our partners in the community to make sure that we're all aligned in the programs that we're offering, and being able to provide services appropriately. So moving on to more recreation, it's kind of status quo in some areas. We're excited to bring back the aquatics programming today. The pool reopened after its 1-week shutdown. Drop-in sports such as pickleball and badminton we can't get enough of. I think if we ran 24 hours a day of pickleball, we'd probably sell those out too. Preschool program is back today, as well as dramatic arts programming with the Ottawa Valley Theatre kids. Skateboard lessons return for 1 more month before it gets a little too chilly. Our volleyball league and crafts and craft return. A lot of the programs you see me come talk to you about year after year, they're all very established, and we're very excited to roll them back out. Events. While we're not as busy as the summer, there's still quite a few to take part in. Friday, we had our youth club homecoming dance, so we were able to welcome many of our kids back on their first week of school. Next Saturday is our annual trip to the Red Blacks game. We have a bus that's just about full to take you to your game. Halloween's busy with Trunk or Treat, which is our accessible twist on trick-or-treating. The Haunted Hall is always a very excited and scary one. Last year, Night of Nostalgia was our 80s, 90s, 2000s dance, and that will return as well. I mentioned the Youth Club Dinner and a Movie, where they'll be going to Jim's Restaurant and the O'Brien Theatre. And lastly, the annual staple with the Christmas Lights contest will span November 20th to December 20th. And as always, there are many events that are going on that are not municipally run, and we encourage those to add those into the events calendar. We do our best to share them in our monthly newsletter as they come in. And we're happy to provide support there if needed. So staying in the know, things change quite frequently, especially as the seasons change, but you can stay up to date with the calendar at arnprior.ca, arnprior.ca/programs, or come to the Nick Smith Center Town Hall to pick up your copy of Arnprior Life, or just talk to a staff member. And social media, everything is on there, and we are more than happy to answer questions with our residents. With that, happy to answer any questions.
Always exciting, Lucas. Any questions for Lucas? Fantastic presentation. Fantastic job. Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you.
We have no public meetings, no matters tabled, deferred, or unfinished business. We do have a notice of motion.
Yep, we've received notice of motion from County Councillor Lynch, which reads the following. Whereas County Councillor Lynch has recently been contacted by a member of the public regarding the installation of a veterans crosswalk to honor those who fought for our rights and freedoms, as well as those who continue to keep peace around the globe. And whereas crosswalks continue to be identified as affordable and highly visible ways to make important societal statements, and veteran crosswalks have entered that domain. And that council directs staff to install a veterans crosswalk and explanatory signage on John Street North at Ewan Street that leads to the town of Arnprior Cenotaph.
Thank you very much, Caitlin. We'll look forward to that next council. We do have a few staff reports proclamations. So first one is the request for signed by law exemption. We've got Alex.
That council denies the request for minor variance from bylaw 5209-04 to permit permanent obsolete off-premises signs at Wes's Chips, 198 Madawaska Boulevard, and that council authorizes staff to give the applicant 90 days to remove the obsolete signs. That council approves a sign variance from bylaw 5209-04 to reduce the height above finished floor level below sign minimum for a single wall sign on the shipping container at Wes's Chips from 2.44 meters to 1.22 meters for a wall sign advertising the business on site, Wes's Chips, and that council authorizes staff to give the applicant 90 days to bring the sign into compliance by obtaining a permit. That council denies the request for the minor variance from bylaw 5209-04 to permit permanent obsolete off-premises signs at Arnprior Chrysler, 205 Madawaska Boulevard, and that council authorizes staff to give the applicant 90 days to remove obsolete signs.
Thank you, Caitlin. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Cooper, Councillor Strike. Alex?
Good evening. So the owners of Wes's Chips at 198 Madawaska Boulevard and Arnprior Chrysler at 205 Madawaska Boulevard have separately applied for minor variances from the sign bylaw to permit obsolete or off-premise wall signs to remain and for variance from various provisions for wall and projecting signs. So I'm just going to give you some background on each of the signs. So for Wes's Chips, there is one Wes's Chips sign and 5 signs advertising businesses not located on the premises, so obsolete or off-premise signs that have been installed on a shipping container on the Wes's Chips property at 198 Madawaska Boulevard. The signs total 9.75 meters long and 2.44 meters tall on a building that is 8.53 meters long and 2.54 meters tall. The signs extend beyond the end of the shipping container, and each sign is approximately 1.22 meters by 2.44 meters, so 4 feet by 8 feet. The Wes's Chip sign is not an obsolete or off-premise sign. However, it does not meet the minimum height off the ground for a wall sign under the current provisions. So this all started because we received a complaint in late fall 2024. So we followed up at that time, and it was noted there were 4 signs installed on the side of a shipping container at Wes's Chips. At some point between late fall 2024 and June 2025, 2 additional signs which do not meet the sign bylaw were added to the side of the shipping container without sign permits. So we're just kind of recognizing that because that's part of the history of the signs themselves. The wall sign at Wes's Chips, pictured here, do not meet the following provisions of the sign bylaw. So section 5, prohibited signs, no person shall erect, install, post, display, maintain, or keep on a premises any obsolete sign which no longer advertises a business conducted or a product sold at the sign location. Such signs shall be removed within 30 days of the closing of a business. Section 7.1 states, except as may otherwise be permitted in this bylaw, the maximum number of signs that may be erected shall be 1 wall, canopy, soffit, reverse graphics sign, or projecting sign per exterior wall, per business site or premises. The 6 signs at Wes's Chips meet the definition of a wall sign. Therefore, based on the provision above, as per the bylaw, a maximum of 1 would be permitted on the wall of a shipping container facing Madawaska Boulevard. Section 9.1C requires the height above finished floor level below a wall sign be a minimum of 2.44 meters. And section 9.3I, the area of a wall sign shall not exceed 0.75 square meters per linear horizontal meter of the exterior wall of a building on which such sign is located. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the total area of a wall sign per business premises shall not exceed 16 square meters. So the signs on the shipping containers at Wes's Chips are located 0.13 meters off of the ground instead of the required 2.44 meters. And the maximum area of permitted wall sign as per section 9.3 would be a maximum of 6.93 square meters. The current signage has a sign face area of 23.79 square meters. So the current signage also extends past the end of the shipping container as per the image below, or here, sorry. It's harder to see on this image, but in the package there is an image that makes it a little bit clearer. And so it's therefore considered a projecting sign. Section 12.1 requires that projecting signs have a maximum sign face area of 1 square meter and have a minimum height above finished floor grade level directly below the sign of 2.44 meters. So the existing proportions of the existing projecting portions of the off-premise signs on the shipping container have a sign face area of 2.93 square meters and are located 0.13 meters off the ground. So that kind of describes Wes's Chips signs as they stand now. And then I'll describe Arnprior Chrysler's signs before moving to our recommendations. Arnprior Chrysler has 5 signs advertising businesses not located on the premises, and they have been installed on a shipping container on our Arnprior Chrysler property at 205 Madawaska Boulevard. The signs total 11.73 meters in length and are 1.22 meters tall on a building which is 12.2 meters long and 2.79 meters tall. Sign sizes vary, so I didn't give sign measurements for each sign. Signage is directed at customers of the Tim Hortons parking lot and drive-through. The signs pictured here do not meet the following provisions of the sign bylaw, so they're very similar to the ones for Wes's Chips, which was why I've gone with one report. Section 5.0, no person shall install obsolete signs. Section 7.1, one wall canopy soffit, sorry. Turn that off. Apologize. Where was I? So one wall canopy soffit reverse graphic sign and projecting sign per exterior wall per business premise. And the 5 signs meet the definition of a wall sign. Therefore, based on that provision, if an off-premise sign was permitted, a maximum of 1 would be permitted on the wall of the shipping container. And then section 9.1C, requiring the height above finished floor level to be 2.44 meters. And then again, section 9.3I, which requires a wall sign not to exceed 0.75 square meters per linear horizontal meter of exterior wall surface. So I'm not going to read those ones all over again. But the signs on the shipping containers at Arnprior Chrysler are located 1.57 meters off of the ground instead of the required 2.44 meters. And the maximum area of permitted wall sign would be 9.15 square meters. The current signage has a sign face area of 14.31 square meters. Again, this is for permitted wall signs. These are not permitted because they're off-premise signs. So in looking at these requests, we looked at the survey results because, as council may be aware, we are in the process of reviewing our sign bylaw and developing a new sign bylaw. And this gave us an opportunity to look at the feedback we received as part of the survey in preparing a recommendation tonight, because those survey results are informing the direction staff are taking in preparing a draft. Survey results indicate mildly positive overall support for some form of off-premise signage. So about 56% of respondents supported off-premise signage, which isn't really a clear indication that this is something the community strongly supports, because that means that 44% of residents either didn't support or didn't answer, or felt kind of on the fence. When we asked respondents if they felt off-premise signage, if permitted, should it be temporary only, permanent, or both temporary and permanent? And the results are that 49% of respondents felt off-premise signage, if permitted, should be temporary only, and 46% said it should allow for temporary and permanent off-premise signage options. 55% of respondents preferred a medium level of signage, 35% preferred a low level of signage, and just 9% of respondents preferred a high level of signage. So the examples are pictured here of low, medium, and high levels of signage. And this is important because when we're looking at off-premise signage, we have to kind of consider how it fits into the overall level of signage for the town as a whole. And recognize how we are allowing off-premise signage in comparison to allowing the on-site signage for businesses in order to get that balance right for our community, but also get that balance right for our businesses, so that, you know, a business advertising on their own property is kind of part of how they do business, and off-premise signage can support businesses not located in town or not located on our main boulevards in doing business, but overall we want that signage level to meet what respondents are looking at. So with 55% of respondents preferring a medium level of signage and 35% preferring a low level of signage, we're kind of in that medium-low range in terms of what we're trying to achieve with a new sign bylaw. So these results suggest a need to strike a very delicate balance between permitting off-premise signage while ensuring limitations on off-premise signage in combination with permitted on-premise signage achieve the overall signage levels Arnprior residents and businesses express they want to see for Arnprior. Striking this balance is challenging, and staff are currently exploring best practices from other municipalities. Staff haven't finalized a draft of the sign bylaw that includes provisions for off-premise signs. However, the staff recommendation on the current variances requested considers how the signs subject to the applications are considered in light of that feedback received in the survey results. Because we want to make sure that our recommendation is consistent with the best information we have available, which includes the survey results. So the recommendation, this is really tiny text, I apologize. The sign bylaw states that a decision of the issuing officer, so that would be our chief building official, may be appealed to council, and council may, upon application of any person, authorize minor variance from the provisions of the bylaw if, in the opinion of council, the general intent and purpose of the bylaw are maintained. Staff are of the opinion that the general intent and purpose of the bylaw is not maintained by the variance proposed for obsolete signs. The two applications for minor variance would allow for obsolete off-premise signs where the bylaw currently does not permit any. Additionally, the current obsolete signs do not meet provisions for wall signs in terms of maximum number and sign face area. In the case of the signs installed at West's Chips, they also do not meet the applicable provisions for projecting signs. The survey conducted in support of a new sign bylaw does not support the widespread installation of permanent off-premise signage or obsolete signage, and staff receive frequent requests for new installations of off-premise signage, which are denied based on the current bylaw. Staff also receive complaints regarding existing off-premise signage installed without permits. Permitting permanent off-premise signage at these two business locations would likely set a precedent, and we anticipate that this would lead to both significant backlash from other businesses who have inquired about and followed the bylaw, and additional applications for variances from other businesses hoping to cash in on additional signage revenue. The results of this could be a level of signage that is not consistent with what the community expressed through the survey results that they would like to see. The signs advertising Wes's Chips located on the Wes's Chips property meet all applicable provisions for a wall sign, except height above finished floor level below the sign. This provision is intended to create a consistent signage height across businesses and limit potential impact to pedestrians. This helps make wall signs more cohesive across businesses. Staff recognize that the wall sign in this case is not on a shared wall. Wes's Chips is a permanent chip truck, is a unique business building, and it's hard to, their chip truck isn't quite a building, but neither is it a truck at this point. And the shipping containers are not directly adjacent to other businesses. So staff are supporting a variance to reduce the minimum height for wall sign on the shipping container for one wall sign advertising the business for Wes's Chips from 2.44 meters to 1.22 meters. A sign permit would be required, but we think this is in keeping with the intent of the bylaw. If council approves the recommendation of staff are recommending a 90-day timeline for removal of the signs in recognition of the work that may be required in not just physically removing the signs, but communicating with advertisers about the removal of the signage and potential financial implications.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Discussion? Councillor Cooper?
Thank you, Mayor. So in looking at the staff report, like, our options are pretty clear here. Section 4.3 empowers council to grant minor variances only where the general intent and purpose of the bylaw is maintained. And as our planner has demonstrated, that the off-premise signage is prohibited right across the board. So that it's very clear that approving a permanent exemption here would not maintain the intent. I do note that the applicants provided some compelling correspondence to council to consider economic impact and so forth. It all boils down to the fact that council under the section 4.3, we cannot grant a minor variance on this because it does not maintain the intent of the bylaw.
Thank you, Councillor Cooper. County Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm thankful that you've done with the survey, that you've got a number of businesses involved as well as the general public to go forward with our new bylaw with the medium sign. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Councillor Cloutier.
It is a tricky one, but I do support what you're suggesting. It is unfortunate that they went ahead and did this without, if they had to come in and checked our bylaws and found out ahead of time, they wouldn't have gone through with these signs and the financial support that they're getting from it and whatnot. But the key is if we say yes and leave these up, we are opening the doors to a lot of, comments and concern from people that, businesses that you've denied signs like this for. So we have to maintain balance across the board for all, which is unfortunate.
Councillor Toner.
All right, thank you. This was really hard for me to wrap my head around, knowing that there is a new sign bylaw coming, I hope soon, and I appreciate now why it takes so long, because there's a lot of nuances and really specific items that would be hard to, it's hard to please everybody, and but in this case, I mean, so just off the top, I actually am in favor of off-site signage as long as it's in the allowable maximum space. So that's number one, but we don't have that now. So for this case, I mean, we're going to have to go with the staff recommendation, but I do hope that when the new sign bylaw does come out, that we do allow off-site, or I don't like the word obsolete, because I understand what an obsolete sign is, but I don't think anyone would have an obsolete sign up. But a off-site or like an off-premise sign to help advertise like a business somewhere else in town. And that's like another thing. I would only want a local town business to be advertised on an off-site sign within our town boundaries, not outside. I mean, it's pretty clear what we have to do here, but I do hope that when the new sign bylaw comes out and we do allow off-site signs, that these two individuals, go through the proper channels. They apply for a permit for a sign, and and I would like to see some type of off-site signage in those two locations once the new bylaw comes out. So, but we don't have that, so we have to go with what we have right now. So, thank you.
Any other comments? All right, so with regards to the recommendation, all in favor of the recommendation? Those opposed? Thank you, Alex. Okay, we've got the Nick Smith Center lease agreement.
That council pass a bylaw authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a 3-year lease agreement with the Canadian Pro Shop for Pro Shop services at the Nick Smith Center, and that council pass a bylaw authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a 3-year lease agreement with the Cottage Cup 2527567 Ontario Inc. for canteen services at the Nick Smith Centre.
Thank you, Caitlin. Mover and seconder, please. County Councillor Lynch, Councillor Burnett. Graham?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we are inching closer to the reopening of the Nick Smith Centre that we expect to start on the 25th of this month with the reopening of Glen Arthur Arena. And lots of moving pieces and things that need doing before we get to that point. Two of which is some core services that are offered through the Nick Smith Centre in our pro shop, which provides skate sharpening, equipment repair, equipment cleaning, and sales of other hockey and ringette related goods, as well as the canteen offering that's located in our main lobby. So just a bit of background that was outlined in the report. So back in 2022, we did go out looking for operators for both of these services in the Nick Smith Centre, and at that time we entered into 3-year lease agreements with the Canadian Pro Shop at that time, as well as the Cottage Cup, known as 252-27567 Ontario Inc. And with the conclusion of these lease agreements at the end of this past season, we went out to a expression of interest because there had also been interest expressed from other local vendors and operators in similar spaces that wanted to know about the opportunity to deliver these services through the Nick Smith Centre. So these were opened up to the public back in July of this year, and we're open for a period of 3 weeks. When it came to the pro shop, we only had one submission through the expression of interest, which was the Canadian Pro Shop. I did have a lengthy conversation with the other vendor who just was excited for an opportunity, but just didn't feel it was an adequate time in his current life circumstances to offer this service in our facility. And we had 4 parties express interest in the canteen services at the Nick Smith Centre, 2 of which made submissions. Eventually through reviewing the submissions from the 2 vendors, we opted to go with the Cottage Cup, which would continue that operation that they've had for the past 3 years at the Nick Smith Centre. The other vendor we were also familiar with, and that was J-Dog, who has operated the canteen at the Nick Smith Centre at the Robert Simpson Park for the past couple of summers, and obviously has operated several other business ventures in the community. So, both vendors certainly put forward some very impressive resumes in terms of what they could, the experience that they have and what they could offer. But kind of when we completed that review, we kind of looked at what the Cottage Cup was bringing forward in terms of that level experience and the added value. They had a very particular focus of a very healthy or healthier menu than I think your mainstream canteens might have in a lot of community arenas. Another factor that just that can't be denied is that they presented an 85% increase in rental revenue from the last year of their current contract to the first year of this new lease. So, as we know, we've undergone a major investment into the Nick Smith Centre, and any sources of revenue that we can bring in over the coming years to help support our operations at the Nick Smith Centre and help us thrive in the service delivery that we provide through our facility, I think has to be carefully considered and weighted in that way. So those were the factors that went into the recommendation as to why we'd want to continue with the Cottage Cup. And should mention that similarly, when it came to the submission from the Canadian Pro Shop, albeit kind of the only submission, they too had presented an increase in rental revenue of 76% from what they were paying at the conclusion of their lease agreement this year into what they would be paying in the first year of this new agreement, and all proponents had put forward increases year over year, which is something that we were pleased to see. It wasn't something that was directed in the expression of interest, but something that has been commonplace in the lease agreements that have been negotiated in the past. And I think through these two vendors, we definitely have two business operators who are familiar with the city, familiar with our clientele, and contributing to the success of the service delivery in our facility. Happy to take any questions on that.
Thank you, Graham. Any questions for Graham on?
Well done.
Mm-hmm. All in favor? None are opposed? Thanks, Graham.
Thank you.
Okay, Miss Caitlin, have you got your breath? Have you caught your breath? Because looks like you're up for a little bit here.
That council proclaim October 5th to 11th, 2025 as Fire Prevention Week in the town of Arnprior.
Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Burnett, Councillor Cooper.
Whereas the town of Arnprior is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Arnprior, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at the greatest risk from fire. And whereas residents should identify places in their home where fires can start and eliminate those hazards. And whereas residents should install working smoke alarms in every sleeping room, outside each separate sleeping area, and on every level of their home. And whereas residents should listen to the sound of the smoke alarm, and when it sounds, respond by going outside immediately to the designated meeting place. And whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas our first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas the 2025 Fire Prevention Week theme is Charge into Fire Safety, lithium-ion batteries in your home, and it aims to educate everyone about using these batteries safely and stresses how important it is to buy, charge, and recycle safely when it comes to lithium-ion batteries. Therefore, the Council of the Town of Arnprior does hereby proclaim October 5th to October 11th, 2025 as Fire Prevention Week in the Town of Arnprior, and urges all residents and visitors to buy only listed products, charge devices safely, and dispose of / recycle batteries responsibly, and support the many public safety activities of the Arnprior Fire Department during Fire Prevention Week and all year long.
Thank you, Caitlin. All in favor? Great, thank you. And next proclamation.
That that council proclaims September 28th, 2025 as Test Your Smoke Alarm Day in the town of Arnprior.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder for that, please. Councillor Toner, County Councillor Lynch.
Whereas Test Your Smoke Alarm Day marks the first day of action to promote installing and testing working smoke alarms in every home in Ontario. And whereas in 2022 there were 133 fatal fires in the province of Ontario, the largest number of fire-related deaths in 20 years. And whereas a working smoke alarm has been legally required to be installed on every story of a residence in Ontario since 2006. And whereas this awareness campaign is led by the Office of the Ontario Fire Marshal and supported by the Arnprior Fire Department each year. Therefore, the Council of the Town of Arnprior does hereby proclaim September 28th, 2025 as Test Your Smoke Alarm Day in the Town of Arnprior, and urges all local residents to test their smoke alarms in their residence by pressing the test button, replacing the batteries, and making sure they're in good working order.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Next proclamation, Carbon Monoxide Prevention Week.
That council proclaimed November 1st to 7th, 2025 as Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week in the town of Arnprior.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Strike, Councillor Burnett.
Whereas carbon monoxide is often referred to as the silent killer because it is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless gas. And whereas CO is the leading cause of accidental poisoning deaths in North America. And whereas each year it proves fatal for dozens of Canadians and makes thousands more sick with what they think is the flu. And whereas increasing awareness of the importance of having functioning carbon monoxide detectors can help save lives. And whereas this November, the Town of Arnprior's Fire Prevention and Protection Office will be increasing public awareness of carbon monoxide hazards at home, school, and work, highlighting the simple steps we can take to avoid personal tragedy. Therefore, the Council of the Town of Arnprior does hereby proclaim November 1st to 7th, 2025 as Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week in the Town of Arnprior and urges all residents and visitors to participate in the outreach activities planned by the Fire Prevention and Protection Officers to highlight the simple steps that everyone can take to limit the risks posed by carbon monoxide to themselves and their families.
Thank you. All in favor? Great, thank you. And deep breath. Terry Fox Day.
That council proclaims September 14th, 2025 as Terry Fox Day in the Town of Arnprior.
Thank you. Moving to second, Councillor Cloutier, Councillor Cooper.
Whereas the Terry Fox Run is inspired by a dream as big as our country, which began in 1980 with Terry Fox and his Marathon of Hope. The run is now entirely volunteer-driven and grounded in traditions, with events held annually around the world to foster research in the fight against cancer. And whereas it has become a tradition in Canada to gather friends and families to participate in a volunteer fundraiser to raise public awareness and financial support for cancer research. And whereas we recognize the importance of cancer research as part of the aims and objectives of the Terry Fox Run on behalf of the people of Canada, of the province of Ontario, and of the Town of Arnprior. And whereas Terry once said, anything is possible if you try. He was an innovator attempting to run across Canada on one leg as a humanitarian mission we had never seen before. Whereas our local residents have taken the initiative to organize a Terry Fox Run for the past 43 years, since 1982. And whereas a flag-raising ceremony for Terry Fox Day will be held on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, prior to the event to raise further awareness for the Terry Fox Run being held at Robert Simpson Park on Sunday, September 14th, 2025. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Arnprior does hereby proclaim September 14th, 2025 as Terry Fox Day in the Town of Arnprior and calls upon all residents to participate in the Terry Fox Run to raise funds for cancer research.
Thank you, Caitlin. All in favor? Great, thank you. Okay, committee reports and minutes. I do not have a report this week. County Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Mayor. At our last meeting, we had two delegations. One was Gabriella Solera and Peter Emon. We've already heard that our curator received the award. Our second delegation was Adrian Schutt, the Director of Real Estate and Construction, Acting President. He spoke to the Renfrew County Housing Corporation Renewal Plan, in that we've got lots of buildings that are old. At the County Council meeting again, a number of our successful Renfrew County 2025 starter companies entrepreneurs were recognized, which we did tonight, but just to reiterate, Paige Hodson is Paige's Projects. She does crafting, handmade crochet clothing. And Minna Rahan has Nura Henna. She's offering henna tattooing and accessories. And tonight we had Manuel Young, who's doing the offering of lawn care services. The Taste of the Valley is coming Saturday to 20th at Calabogie, September 20, October 18 Cobden, December 13 Pembroke at the Knights of Columbus. And a reminder for the people that are going on the agricultural tour this Friday, it's at 8:30 at International Drive. Thank you.
Thank you, County Councillor Lynch. Are there any other committee reports? Have there been any other meetings to report? No? Okay. Oh, Councillor Toner.
Not a formal report, but I do have a couple updates. Last council meeting, I did mention that as part of the Arnprior McNabb Braeside Archives, the archivist, she was approved to go on a speaking tour at a conference in Spain, and I did say that all the money, the $3,000, it was raised through local, some local organizations and some businesses, but I did forgot to mention that McNabb Braeside, they were willing to fit the whole bill if we didn't raise the money, but we did raise the money, so they don't have to support, but I just wanted to give them like a shout out that they were willing to send Janice on to this conference. And also yesterday at the market, I was at the booth for the Environmental Advisory Committee, and we had a special guest, Just Good Composting. We had Will Affleck, his wife Kelly, and their son Atticus, and they were there. We were spreading the word on the Just Good Compost. There was a lot of good feedback, and I just wanted to, they had the same kind of feeling as what Emily had when she first moved in here. They said that, you know what, this town, they have it in Almont and they have it in Carleton Place, but they said this town, there's something special. They could see the excitement, the passion, the spark that the people had. So if it's coming from two people, two different people saying the same thing, it has to be true. So I think the town of Arnprior, the residents, the council, the whole organization, I think we're onto something really good here. So anyway, just to update, Just Good Composting will be accepting household compost starting October 1st, and they're going to meet with the advisory committee on Monday the 15th. We're going to help them try to kick off, but just stay tuned. We did sign people up on Sunday, so that's a good start. Yeah, so there's some really good things coming, so stay tuned. And thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Toner. County Councillor Lynch.
For Councillor Toner, with the composting, we got these machines a couple of years ago that we're still composting. Is that the stuff you're going to take?
No, that program is still in place, but this Just Good Compost, it's like a pay service. It's just like the City of Ottawa. It's like a green bin, so they'll take anything that is compostable, like bones, paper towels, meat. So some of the things can't go into the food cycler. So anyone that wants to help minimize what goes into our landfill and kind of prolong the life, they can sign up to get one of these buckets, which you can fill up a bucket and they'll come and pick it up once a week and give you a fresh bucket. So you can do that in partnership. You can have both going at the same time, and then at the end of the year or in the spring, if you want, they'll have a compost day where you can take the compost that you've given them, that's been processed, and you can add it to your household garden. So. But still, yeah, the food cycler is still a great program. We do encourage people to do that. But if you can do both, all the better.
So that was out of committee reports and minutes. Correspondence and petitions, we've got the information package, please.
That correspondence package number I-25, September 15, be received as information and filed accordingly.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Lynch, Councillor Cloutier. Any questions? Comments?
Thank you, Mayor. Only two. On page 23, the Ontario government is supporting Canadian culture and identity by providing more than $10 million to support 226 art organizations and artists across the province. This funding, provided through the Ontario Arts Council, will help deliver arts and culture programs that enrich people's lives, promote local artists, and support local economies. This funding opportunity was discussed at our last Cultural and Diversity meeting, and I'll ask Councillor Cooper to expand on that a little bit. But to the CEO, an opportunity for an economic development officer to see if there's an appetite for a local artist group.
Yes, it is. We will look at it.
Thank you. And Councillor Cooper, please.
I have my notes here on that. If you go on with your, the rest of your, I know you have more.
So the second one is on page 26. Attention seniors who are age 75 and over. The Ontario government is expanding the respiratory syncytial virus RSV prevention program to include all individuals aged 75 years and older. This program will be rolled out this fall. Thank you.
Thank you, County Councillor Lynch. And Councillor Cooper, you were going to expand on.
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to expand on it, so I didn't have my notes ready. But one of the things that I went to, one of the sessions that I went to at AMO this year, focused on culture and economic impact. And one of the biggest things that they talked about was the amount of money and the amount of potential that's there with the Ontario Arts Council to provide for communities. There's a lot of artists that spoke as well and said that's how they got their start, was through the Arts Council. And one of the big statistics that they brought forward was they talked about arts and culture. Actually, for every dollar that we invest in arts in our community translates into a $25 return on investment, which is nothing to sneeze at. And also, they said sometimes there's this feeling that the arts are an add-on, an extra, but they pointed out how big the art and culture industry actually is and how many people are in there. So really excited to see. I know at our last committee meeting we talked about our cultural plan, which we're going to be moving forward with. Council will receive some more information about a funding request for that formally in a budget, but the cultural plan is going to be able to help us inform how arts and culture are paid for, are budgeted, and what impact they can have in the town. So County Councillor Lynch's point about the Ontario Arts Council being an integral part of this is really, really well received, and it's exciting to see that come out because it's the exact same message we got at AMO. So I'm looking forward to seeing some more information. I will be presenting to council a summary once I get the slides of some of the different presentations that I went to, this being one of them. And I believe the title of it was Arts and Culture and the Economic Impact of both of them. So looking forward to presenting that at a later date.
Thank you, Councillor Cooper. County Councillor Lynch?
And to sum up, we had a guest at our culture and diversity meeting who said that if you're an artist, get a hold of the Ontario Arts Council and you can get up to $5,000 to help you start whatever music or culture musician that you want to be. So it's an open opportunity to make that application.
That's from the information package. All in favor? Thank you. Violence was Chips Pro Shop. Okay, we're good to do all three of these together.
That the following bylaws be and are hereby passed. Bylaw number 7617-25, sign bylaw exemption, Wes's Chips. Bylaw number 7618-25, lease agreement, Canadian Pro Shop. And bylaw number 7619-25, lease agreement, the Cottage Cup.
Thank you. Moving to seconder. Councillor Cloutier, Councillor Cooper, all in favor? None are opposed. Thank you. Moving on down to announcements.
I was ready for Councillor Cooper to leap to his feet. However, the cricket championships were held last Saturday afternoon at McLean Avenue. The Ottawa team beat the Canada team. Unfortunately, our Ottawa Valley Strikers, which is our team, didn't make the playoffs. There was probably 50 people in attendance, perfect day, and we look forward to them next year. They're going to make a delegation to town just to let them know what they do. Other than that, it was a exciting game. I didn't realize the intricacies of it. The scoring, 11 people per team, 11 guys in the field, 11 guys get to hit 2 at a time, and the score was 165. I mean, this could go on for days, but luckily for us, it was only a couple hours. Other than that, thank you to the committee that were there, to Pizza Hut, who provided pizzas afterwards as nourishment to all the players. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, County Councillor Lynch. Any other announcements? Councillor Cooper?
Yeah, same deal. The cricket tournament was great. I remember I sat here last July, and I talked about the new cricket team that was going to be starting here. And at that point, it was a fun league. that Gaggenpaul, who was formerly a part of our Culture and Diversity Committee, had started. And it was just a handful of people. And from there, since then, they had their jersey launch, which was very exciting. Big event. They all got their jerseys. And then they started finding other teams. And this has been, it's spread all the way. We had teams from Barrhaven, from Ottawa. And as County Councillor Lynch pointed out when we were talking at the actual tournament, cricket is now being played in Petawawa. You're seeing it in North Bay. You're seeing it all over the place. And while we're talking about this being something new to Arnprior and wonderful, I actually dug through the archives, which are very easy to search now if you go online. So I want to see how far back I could find mention of cricket here in Arnprior. And I found an article from the Arnprior Weekly Review, and some of you may have read this before. It's back in 1874. And the article starts off, it's not talking about hockey. It says, the principal features in Arnprior were cricket and baseball. A match at a cricket having been agreed upon between the Commercial Club of Ottawa and the Arnprior Club. The former arrived on Tuesday evening, and wickets were pitched shortly before 11 o'clock on Wednesday, the Commercials going into bat. The result, of course, was an overwhelming victory for Arnprior, having won the match in one inning with 11 runs to spare. The batting of both clubs was superior, but the bowling and fielding of the club from the capital was considerably inferior to their opponents. The fielding of the Arnprior team was simply admirable, so much that some of those who are in the know placed it on the footing with that of an old country team. Arnprior blew them away, and they intend on inviting our club to Ottawa for a return match sometime soon. And they also talked about the other team got back on their train and left for home at 5:20 with their heads held low. So we might talk about cricket being a brand new thing out here. I really want to commend Gaggenpaul for starting this. It shows what one member of our community can do. He could have sat around and said, I want someone else to start this. It would be really nice if we had cricket. Sent Graham 100 emails about getting cricket, but he didn't. He went out on his own. He got a whole bunch of people excited about this. I think they have 40 players playing cricket right now on their team alone. The other interesting thing that I thought was when we had all the teams there, they had their award ceremony, and I asked for a show of hands, and I said, how many of you, just from Ottawa, 20 minutes away, how many of you have never been to Arnprior before? How many of you never been before playing cricket here? And a quarter of the hands went up. So that is just the power of recreation, but the power of culture and growth in our town, that we could bring new people in. They consumed about 15 pizzas. I assume they may have gotten gas in our town, but the economic impact of culture and recreation in our town, this is just a shining example. I really look forward to their delegation. I encourage council members and staff, get out and see some cricket. You won't know what's going on at first, but if Dan and I can figure it out, you can too. I got to actually hit a couple balls, so I'm looking forward to County Councillor Lynch getting out there and doing some paddling as well. Senior League. Old, no, what is it? The old, not the old, our seniors club that Lucas has put up. Maybe that's going to be part of the programming. Thank you.
Councillor Cooper, you mentioned the article was from 1874 and suggested that some of us may have read it before.
History buffs within among us. I would never assume that anyone. I know Councillor Toner is big on the archives, so I thought maybe he had gone back and seen some of this. I did not want to say.
Why were you looking at Councillor Strike?
Well, I wasn't looking at Councillor Strike. I just I don't know. I thought he wanted to add something onto that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Turning off my mic now before I get in trouble.
Any other announcements? No. We have no closed session. Confirmatory bylaw, please.
That bylaw number 7620-25 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular meeting of council held on September 8th, 2025 be and is hereby approved.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Burnett, Councillor Cooper, all in favor. And adjournment, please.
That this council meeting be adjourned at 8:03 p.m.
Thank you. Councillor Cloutier, County Councillor Lynch, all in favor. Right.